Let's get the latest on the debt talks and the stalemate. As of now, neither of the competing plans from Senator Reid or Speaker Boehner look likely to pass through Congress. So what is next? Let's get some insight now from our man in Washington, executive editor Al Hunt. Al, you know, from what I'm hearing in the investment community, there's real concern right now about the White House looking not at a default, but at a downgrade in the unknown portion of what happens next. What's the fear level now?
I think the fear level is fairly high. It's a political fear level. It's an economic fear level. The downgrade, there's so many different elements there. Could it be that one or two of the ratings agencies, having been justifiably clobbered for their malfeasance during the financial crisis, are trying to kind of get good, get even now, or get back? What's changed? How's the fiscal outlook changed in the last 6 months? I don't really see that it has. They're not going to do anything important. We've talked about that. Or substantive long run, but that wasn't in the cards 6 months ago either. So I'm not quite sure what that means. I think it's a political time bomb, perhaps, but I'm not quite sure what it means other than that. As for getting the debt ceiling done, Margaret, I'm convinced they'll get it done, they'll get it increased. I just don't have the slightest idea how. Yeah, and it seems that this highlights just the degree of polarization in Congress right now. Have you ever seen it this high? I know I've certainly never seen it this high about things that shouldn't matter as much. Not that increasing the debt ceiling isn't important. It's the obligation of the United States government. But during the Vietnam War, during the Civil Rights Movement, there were tremendous struggles of real. I mean, people were representing principled points of view on both sides of the issues. This seems to be much more about petty politics. Gene Cummings had a fascinating piece in Bloomberg this morning where a political scientist had looked at it, and back in 1988, there were something like 161 House districts that were competitive. Now there are probably half that many. They are redistricting, so they're all Republican districts, or predominantly Republican or predominantly Democratic districts, and there's no incentive to walk across the aisle. No incentive, which makes us that idea of a stalemate seem just one that isn't going to end in the near term. It doesn't send a message to the rest of the world that there is a clear bet on the future of America, a clear direction, whether or not, August 2nd passes with or without a default. It's really about what's the direction of the country. I think that's true, and I think these are battles that are going to be fought out at least through the 2012 election. The hope is that that's conclusive in one way or another, but the likelihood is that it won't be totally conclusive, and those battles will go on for the several years after that. Do you think the president's getting the right advice right now? Is he speaking to the right people? Well, he may be getting the right advice economically. I certainly think there's questions about whether he's getting the right advice politically. I'm still not sure why he went on television Monday night to really say nothing new, other than maybe to emphasize I'm relevant. After the last 3 or 4 days, presidents really shouldn't have to do that. I think he's in a delicate position, but so is John Boehner in a delicate position right now. Yeah. So no one's happy, and no one's coming out of this a winner as of today. Al Hunt, thank you very much. Looks like I may be coming your way next week unless they get this thing done, Al. I told you, Good. Don't make me come to Washington. That's the only reason to not want it done. All right, we're going to leave it there. Talk to you tomorrow, Al.